Ordinary experience, history, and literature all tell us that colours operate as powerful stimulants of memory, identification, and loyalty. This comes from Justice Heery in Cadbury and Darrell Lea, where Cadbury unsuccessfully tried to prevent Darrell Lea from using the colour purple in relation to chocolate. So when can colour be protected under the Trademark Act, and in what circumstances has the court given exclusive right to the use of colour in the course of trade? Interestingly, the colour of a product was not considered registrable prior to the 1995 amendments to the definition of a sign under the Trademark Act to include colour among other non-traditional aspects, such as smell and shape. Colour was held in Philmac and Register of Trademarks at paragraph 65 that it may be a sign in its own right and not merely an element of another species of sign, such as a logo or aspect of packaging. Combinations of colour may be easily registered, and an example of this is the Commonwealth Bank's registration of the colours black and yellow. Combinations of colour lower the probability that other competitors will use those in conjunction in the course of trade. Neither will they have a descriptive function or other non-trademark significance, such as red for bank withdrawal slips and blue for deposit slips. Single colours are more difficult to register, unless they are unusual for the product. For registration of colour, trademarks are required to be capable of distinguishing under section 41(1) to qualify for registration. The colour must not serve as a utilitarian, ornamental or economic function, and there should be no competitive need for colour, so that other traders may use that colour in relation to similar goods. Though it was held that this was not an absolute bar to acquiring trademark rights as established in Philmac, where the court registered the colour terracotta for non-metallic irrigation pipes, which it deemed out of left field. Single colours usually fail this test and are more commonly registered under factual or required distinctiveness provisions of the Trademark Act under section 41(5) and 6. Distinctiveness was considered in the Whiskers case, where the colour purple was registered in the context of pet food. Contributing to this successful registration of colour, Whiskers had a shade of purple especially formulated for that product, and it was held by the court that colour did function as a badge of origin by which consumers identified the goods in contrast to others. Justice Bennett pointed out that in adopting an entirely new colour as a trademark and promoting it heavily from the outset, there was a clear intention of giving the colour trademark significance. To establish factual use as a trademark and establish distinctiveness, the colour must not acquire distinctiveness after the application date. It must be clearly defined, with amendments not altering the mark in a substantial way. In the case of BP, the court looked at the objective assessment of purpose and the nature of the trademark use. The court found that the use of colour, the colour green, had evolved over time in relation to service stations and used by the business more generally. Though the colour green had been increasingly dominant colour for BP since the mid-50s, yellow always remained a subsidiary colour. This shifting use and refinement of trademark proved fatal to BP's application, and they were considered alterations of the substance of the mark.